No, I was going to say we should probably look at this weekend's games and look into the crystal ball.
Well, yeah, I suppose we should. I mean, that's what we do here, isn't it? Make some predictions. Get them probably a bit wrong, but let's make them anyway. Okay, so
That's our obligation.
I'm going to go through the games. You tell me what you think.
Okay.
I'll give you also. Start off on Friday. Glasgow hosting Zebra at Scotstoun.
This should be fairly straightforward. I think convincing win for the home team, and I'll give it a winning margin of 24 points.
Yeah, I think the same. Zebra did beat Munster 2 weeks ago, but that was at home, and the Stormers showed how to dismantle it. Glasgow, they're second on the log at the moment. They defending champions. They've got too much class. I think also I'm probably going to go about 30 points. Maybe I feel a bit sorry for the Italians. I think Glasgow's will be way too much class. But okay,
Yeah.
moving on. Saturday, first game at 4 o'clock for a change. Not because all our teams are now overseas. Not at 1:45. Cardiff hosts Scarlets in a Welsh derby.
Tricky one to call. I am going to go with the home team, and it won't be by much. It'll be by 4 or less.
Yeah, derby's always difficult to call, but Cardiff seem to have a bit of a resurgence in them this season. They're currently fifth, we're only 3 rounds in, but Scarlets look like they have the same problems in the last couple of years. I'd say Cardiff by 7. Then the first South African team playing 4 o'clock Saturday. Benetton hosting the Sharks.
I think the Sharks could go on a decent run here. I'm gonna go with them, but Benetton haven't really convinced so far, have they? So I'm gonna go Sharks, and I'm gonna go them with them by 7.
Yeah, I think if the Sharks should have all the firepower, they should have enough there. But Benetton as well, we thought pre-season they would make a much better start. Yeah, they haven't. In fact, I think they've lost their first couple of games, all 3 games. They're certainly a better side than that. They are a top 8 side, but I think the Sharks will be buoyed by that win that they got against the Dragons and should have a little bit too much class. It's going to be a close one for me. I think the Sharks by 5, probably.
Yeah, at some point Benetton will click back into gear. Sharks fans will hope it's not in this game.
And then straight after that, 6:15 on Saturday, the Stormers travel to Edinburgh. Edinburgh, obviously, still hurting. In fact, what they call their own performance an embarrassment against the Lions, which is probably an understatement in Edinburgh fans' eyes. But the Stormers are coming off that win. They'll smell a bit of blood there. But Edinburgh, Sean Everett's under pressure, having lost all their games so far in the competition.
Yeah, they will be under pressure. And then there's also the travel factor we need to be cognizant of here. The Stormers would have had a shorter journey. I'm going to go with the Stormers. I think last week's win, as you said earlier about the Sharks, I think the Stormers will also be buoyed by the last performance. But Edinburgh, they almost certainly will be better than last week. So a tight game, but I'm going to give it to the South African team by 3 points.
Yeah, those games tend to bring out a lot of pressure, and there'll be a lot of pressure on Edinburgh to put in such a performance. So you can expect a response from them. Whether it'll be enough, I'm not sure. I think the Stormers should win that one as well, and I think I agree with you with your scoreline there. Sorry. Then the big game of the weekend, I suppose in URC terms, not so much in South African terms, but a certain game at Croke Park where 75,000 tickets have been sold. First place Leinster against third place Munster.
I'm going to go with Leinster, and I'm going to go with Leinster delivering a commanding performance. In the end, I think it'll be tight to start off with, but Leinster winning in the end by 10 points.
Yeah, well, I think Leinster at this moment, they on song. At this stage of the season, they don't really have many flaws. Everything goes well for them. Once they go into the international season and they pick up a couple of injuries, they do have depth, but that's when some of the cracks start coming through sort of late in the season. And while they're never an easy team to beat, especially in Dublin, teams tend to pick up 1 or 2 things that they can exploit. I think at this stage of the season, they're a much better side than Munster. Munster tends to come better late in the season as well.
Yeah.
So I would probably say as well, Leinster about 10 or more points. It's quite a bold prediction, mate, but Leinster's looking really good in this opening couple of rounds of the URC. Another Bull side, another South African side, eventually 8:35, a little bit earlier before the clocks go back. Ospreys, a tricky game for the Bulls.
It is a tricky game. I feel that a lot will hinge on how they set out their stall, how they select their team. I think they're capable of winning this game by 12 points, but they're also capable of losing it. So depending on who they put out, I'm going to go with the Bulls win, and I'm going to say Bulls by 12.
Yeah. Ospreys have been notoriously tough for South African teams. Another one of those teams that, and they have quite a tricky side. I mean, they made the top 8 last year, right on the edge there. They probably ruined the Stormers season with that win in Cape Town as well. So they are a difficult side to play, especially at home. But the Bulls have included all their box for this tour. So if they pick their strongest team for this, they should have enough class. And yeah, I'd say probably it's not going to feel comfortable ever, but the Bulls should eventually win by 7 to 8 points, but it'll be only in the last of the 15 minutes. Okay. Then we go to the last game on Saturday, another derby. Interesting one as well, because for once, the home team is not the one in form. Ulster, normally the team in form in this. They face Connacht. Connacht have done pretty well. They started the season exceptionally well. They come back win against the Sharks 2 weeks ago, and they won last week. They're fourth on the log at the moment. Ulster, after 2 losses in South Africa, are 13th, and also under a bit of pressure to perform.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Ordinarily, I'd go Ulster, and I'd go probably Ulster by 8. However, there's again the travel factor, and as you well pointed out, Connacht on a decent run. I think if ever they thought going to Belfast, where they had a chance, and whether the hosts are ripe for the taking, I think it's this occasion. So I'm going to go Connacht by 3.
Yeah, interesting caveat on that one. Ulster coach Richie Murphy will come up and go against his son, who plays scrum half for Connacht this week. So a bit of a family connection there makes it a little bit more tense, I suppose, at the Sunday lunch afterwards. But yeah, it'll be an interesting one to watch as well. And then Sunday at Rodney Parade, the team that we say frustrates South African teams, against a team that's in so much form at the moment, it's hard to not to back them. The Emirates Lions against Dragons.
Yeah, I'm going to be brief on this one. I think the Lions on a good run, quite literally, full of confidence. They've got a good record against the Dragons as well. I think they've got 4 wins and 1 draw in their matchup. And I think another decent Lions performance here. Lions by 10.
Yeah, I think they it all depends how they handle the conditions and what conditions they get at Rodney Parade as well. But I think at the moment the confidence is sky high there, and they'll play with that confidence. That'll give them the win as well. So I agree with your scoreline there. So that's the weekend's wrap.